on, hobby family? It is your boy K-Dub. This is K-Dub's High Five. 5 rapid fire questions with your favorite hobby faces. And today we bring in a guy that keeps his ear to the hobby streets. He keeps his finger on the hobby pulse. He is the Junk Wax Hero, Mike at Junk Wax Hero 79 on Twitter, Junk Wax Hero on YouTube. How are you doing, man?
Great. Love to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I thank you for bringing in all your great cards behind you right there, man. I'm in awe of some of those amazing faces from my childhood. So thanks for inviting me into your card section of your house right there. So
Yeah, happy to show people what I have. It's the best part of the hobby is sharing what you have with other people.
absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, how this works is I got 5 questions, all hobby related. I'm going to throw them at you one right after another. Ready to take on the high five?
Let's do it.
All right, man. You are Mike, Junk Wax Hero. Talk to me a little bit about what you feel that means when it comes to the social media hobby. Like, who are you in the social media hobby?
Well, I'm just a collector, and I don't like my YouTube channel grew way bigger than I ever anticipated it being. I never expected to have a big following or to for people to find me credible or entertaining or anything like that. So it's been a wild ride, and I think I don't know. It's such a weird thing to think about. Uh, I think that who I am is somebody who is interested in anything that's happening in the hobby that uh, is story related or maybe requires a little investigation.
Yeah.
I love to tell a story. So my Attic Find Fridays are my most popular series. I've been doing this for 14 months. Attic
Okay.
Find Fridays, where I share a big attic find story. It's what caused most of my growth of my channel over the last year.
Yeah.
And it's all about the story. Like if I just said these amazing 1933 Gaudi cards were found, nobody's going to really care about that. But if I tell the story about where they came from, that's what people want to hear.
Yeah. And why do you think that is? If you were to kind of try to put a reason behind what draws people into that, why do you think people like that?
It's the dream. It's finding out that it's somebody like you
Hmm.
that found those cards in their grandfather's attic after their grandfather passed away
Yeah.
and thinking that could happen to you someday. That's what
Absolutely.
it is for me. And I
Yeah.
think that,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm never going to find them, but when I was a kid, it was a big, big dream. And even as a young adult, I thought, I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to find some amazing cards in the attic. It never happened, but
Oh, that's very interesting. And I think you're spot on there. I think we all have that little like dream in our heart that will come across that one card in the random box that's the $1 million mantle or whatever it is. So it's really fun when you can tell the entire story of that as well, because like you said, people put themselves into the narrative. They find a way to find themselves into the story. So
yeah.
um, pretty awesome. Well, when you think about kind of let's talk about collecting first. You as a collector, like who would you credit as some of your biggest influences when it comes to collecting sports cards?
Yeah, so first and foremost would be my dad, who got me into collecting in 1986 and supported my hobby and my collecting as a kid, and my mom as well. My parents got divorced when I was 9, I guess, and had separate houses, and I had separate collections because I would buy some cards when I was with my dad, and I had cards in a collection in my room at my dad's, and I had collection at my mom's, and both were very supportive of that. Um, Current influences, I would say, would be collectors on YouTube, not influencers. I'm not talking about like Jeff Wilson or anybody like that, but true collectors who talk about what they collect and why they collect them. Mike Moynihan of Baseball Collector channel, people like that that I watch, I learn so much about the hobby from, uh, and the way they collect. I don't collect the same way, but listening to them talk about it helps shape what I do. A Collector's Dream, Orlando is another one.
Okay.
These guys really got me into collecting vintage in the first place. Um, I'm going to forget a bunch, but those are some really key people for me.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My parents separated for 2 years when I was in elementary school, around the same age, and I really feel like that's when I developed my true love for the hobby. My dad and I would go to the card shops when I would be with him on the weekends, and I don't know, it's just kind of that interesting thing you could grab onto maybe in a little bit of a moment of turmoil in your life. So I really connected to that as well. So what about when you think about kind of the direction you took your YouTube channel? Were there any kind of big influences for you when it came to starting out the YouTube stuff? You kind of mentioned Mike and Orlando's, but is there anybody that you kind of looked to and said, that really inspires me to do something for me?
No,
Oh,
interestingly, the only people I knew existed, well, I guess I knew about Jeff Wilson, sports card investor, because you search for anything sports card related, and he was going to come up. But the only people I ever saw with sports cards back when I first got into YouTube in mid 2021 were breakers and
mm,
people opening packs for themselves. And I initially thought I wanted to do that, but realized how expensive it was. And I thought, well, I still want to get on YouTube. And I've always been a storyteller.
yeah.
And my first YouTube video is a video telling the story about how I got this 1956 Topps Sandy Koufax autographed, not authenticated, for like 20 bucks at a card show, because the seller and I didn't know that it was autographed. It's a weird
Oh,
story. My very first video. And I
okay.
got it home and I was showing my wife, and she was like, which one of these autographs is real? Because there's a facsimile autograph on 56 Topps too.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, this might be autographed.
Yeah.
And so I told the story because I've always been a storyteller, is what my friends talk about, my family. And I realized, I could make something of this, is just telling stories about cards and things that are happening with cards. And I
Yeah.
love it.
No, I love it too, man. I will make sure to link your channel in the description of this video. So anyone curious on the story of the card, make sure to go check out my man's channel, Junk Wax Hero, to hear the story. And I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna make sure to go watch it myself. So very, very cool. All right, man. Well, this question gets me excited for you. When you think about the Grail item for you, maybe it's a card, maybe it's a piece of mem, but what is the Grail item for your collection and why?
Yeah, so I just got what had been my Grail item, which was this 1949, or what PSA calls 48, 49 leaf Ted Williams, stunning color. It's tough to tell with my lighting, I think.
Yeah, no, 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 for sure.
It's one of my favorite cards, and so I had to have it. Finally got one in November, December or so. So this was my Grail, and it's my number one non-autographed item in my collection. And now my next one that I'm hoping to get this year is the 1941 play ball Ted Williams.
Okay. And I mean, is there a story behind the why?
Again, I've told this story about Ted Williams a couple times on my channel. I met him as a kid, and he was a huge jerk to me. I was like
Oh,
11 or 12 years old. Huge jerk, but I was such a huge fan as a kid. And obviously, he had retired 30 years before
okay.
I even started following baseball, or 25 years. But I read his book. I read everything I could about Ted Williams.
Mm,
And so I've just always been a big fan. I think he's the greatest hitter in history.
yeah. It's interesting that you hear these stories about people meeting their heroes, and it kind of puts a little sour stain on the fandom. So I've always kind of had it in my heart. Do I really want to meet, Michael Jordan is my guy. Like, do I really want, because I've heard stories. I'm like, maybe I'll just hold that he's the nicest guy in the world and be okay with it. But I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. Catch
Don't
22.
meet your heroes.
Yeah, there you go. Unless they're my junk wax heroes, and then I got them right here, man.
Nice. Good.
All right, man. Well, next question. Let's move to the products. You got all the money in the world. You can rip any box of cards that you want. What box are you ripping and why?
Any year,
Any year, any product, any sport, you name it, it's yours.
it would be this 1948, 49 Leaf.
Okay.
There's so many. So you had the war and
Yeah, yeah.
rations, and the paper had to be rationed, and so you didn't have any baseball cards for 7 years, roughly. At least not any
Yeah.
big brand normal distribution cards. And so this set has a lot of big cards in it. Jackie Robinson, Ted Williams. It's just an amazing set with great color, great photographs.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's what I would choose.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I love it. I love I love the history piece behind it too. I'm a history guy. So I love the history piece behind it too. So very neat, very neat. All right, final question I got for you, man. The reason I gravitate towards your stuff is because you literally keep a hand on what's going on in the hobby. You kind of are the hobby no guy. Um, as you look as like the big hobby, like what kind of trends do you see the hobby kind of moving towards as we go into later 2024? Kind of like what direction do you see the hobby going, kind of moving into the new hobby, if you will, with changes going on? Like, what are your thoughts on what's happening in the hobby right now?
Yeah, so I'll start with some positives.
Okay.
I think that Fanatics has a lot of connections, and they've done some really cool things, like the base relics of first, like players' first hits. You're going to see
For
in
sure.
products coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Very, very cool idea. And then you had the much more rare one of one MLB debut cards,
Debut
which are
pack,
really cool.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never have any of those, but it's still a really cool idea. And it kind of gives you this sense of what might be to come with a
Mm,
company like Fanatics, who has all those connections.
mm,
Uh, I think that prices continue to go up, and that just it encourages breaking instead of going to breakers. And I don't have anything wrong with breakers, but it makes it harder for a guy like me to go out and buy a hobby box.
yeah, absolutely. Guy like me too.
And that's, yeah, exactly. And that doesn't hurt Fanatics. They're not going to change because of us. They're after money. It's capitalism.
Yeah.
So that's just something that has changed the hobby pretty dramatically. I don't know that that's positive or negative. It's negative to me, but
It just kind of is
uh,
what it is. I mean,
yeah, it's a big change, and some people like it, and some people like it, and some people don't.
mm,
I think that quality is a bigger problem now, but it's easy to say that because you see all the pictures on social media where there are so many issues,
yeah.
but there were tons of quality issues back in the 80s and 90s too.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
just didn't see the
Yep.
pictures
Yep.
every single day like you do on Twitter and Instagram,
Yeah.
where people are saying, check this out, you've got a camera right on you. We
Yeah.
didn't have that.
Mm,
Couldn't send it to your friends and post it all over the world. So it's easy to say, man, quality is such a big problem, when it kind of always has been. I would love to see Fanatics work on making some improvements to quality, though.
yeah. Yeah. What do you see like it's kind of off here, but like obviously we got this kind of weird thing going on with like some guys are with Fanatics and some guys are with Panini. Like, do you see this meshing at all in the future, or do you feel like we're always going to have this kind of weird divide with autos on this side and autos on this side, and you can get the one-on-ones, but you can't get the autos? Like, do you ever feel like there'll be a meshing of the masses?
I think everybody's going to end up with Fanatics. Fanatics has all the money.
Hmm.
It's not like the olden days where you're going to see Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods sign with Upper Deck, and everybody else is with Panini and
Yeah.
and Tops at the time. I think that Fanatics is just, if they want them, they're going to go out and get them.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we've seen that a little bit with LeBron, right? I
Yep.
mean, LeBron was Upper Deck, and
Yep.
now he's signing with Tops and Fanatics, Bowman U, or whatever the product that they're signing in is.
Right.
So I think you're spot on there. I think that Fanatics will just continue to gobble up, gobble up, gobble up, and eventually, I think they're going to have it all. I mean, I just think it's going to be that way.
Yep.
But when you got all the money in the world, I guess that's the way the world rolls a little bit. So,
Yep. A lot of products. They continue to release new products. They retired some products,
yeah,
which I think is good. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see how many new products come out, how many new variations.
mm,
So like Panini just released 2023-24 Prism,
mm.
and it has 63
Oh,
parallels, up from 52 from last year, up from 12 years ago.
yeah, yeah. Up from when I started in 2014, 2015, it was 16 cards to a rainbow, and
Yeah, exactly.
61 is just like, who's chasing that? I mean, I don't have the wall space for it, so I'm not
Yeah,
chasing 61.
exactly.
Oh, all right, man. I got a bonus question for you here.
Yeah.
Because I've always been curious. Junk Wax Hero is the name that you chose for the channel, for your Twitter stuff. Like, where'd you come up with that? What does that mean to you? Like, how did you fall on that?
I hate it. It's
Oh,
so funny because
I like it. I'm a fan. So
thank you. So I was trying to think of a channel name. I hadn't created a channel yet, and I was like, I'm going to create a channel. I wanted to have a clever name, and so I was thinking about something from my era of collecting, the late 80s to mid 90s, and or mid 80s to mid 90s. And I had a bunch of different ideas, and I still have them written down, I'm sure. But then I was thinking about how that's the junk wax era, and I was out driving one day, and Foreigner's Jukebox Hero came on the radio, and I just changed it to Junk Wax Hero,
okay.
and that's where it was. But I think it hurts my channel because people see Junk Wax Hero and they think I'm only talking about
Yeah.
junk wax cards,
Yeah.
and I talk about everything.
For sure, for sure. Well, I feel like you need to make some sort of video intro to your channel where you have the lyrics to Jukebox Hero and you. I mean, I'm sure you get copyrighted by YouTube, but somehow work that in. I'm a junk wax. I would love. I would love. I'll even sing it for you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, all right, bro. Hey, we cleared the list, man. We got a high five. Throw it up. High five at the end. High five. Boom. You can check out Mike on Twitter or X at Junkwax Hero 79. Also, subscribe to his channel, Junkwax Hero. I'll link all the descriptions I'll link all the information in the description of this video. Also, please subscribe to the channel Dizzy Dub One. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. KDub. Shout out to our high five endorsers, Midwest Box Breaks, and LJ's Card Shop. Hey man, this was awesome. I really enjoyed our time. Thanks so much for taking the time to do it.
Me too. Thanks for having me on. Just last.
All right, y'all take care. We'll catch you guys next time on the next high five.